When did your parental instincts save your child's life? When my 8-year-old started asking weird questions about our neighbor, Mr. Peterson. Does he have kids? Why does he always wave at me? Can I go see his dog sometime? At first, I thought it was innocent curiosity. Peterson seemed like a nice enough guy, quiet, kept to himself, always nodded lightly when we crossed paths. He'd moved in about 6 months earlier and never caused any problems. But then I started noticing things. Peterson only came outside when my son Jake was playing in our yard. He'd suddenly appear with his trash can or start watering his garden, always finding excuses to start conversations through the fence. Your boy's getting so big, he'd say, that he's good at video games. I just got the new PlayStation if he ever wants to try it. I'd politely deflect, but Jake's eyes would light up every time. Then Jake mentioned Peterson had given him a special toy, a remote control car, that was apparently amazing. But when I asked to see it, Jake got nervous and mumbled something about leaving it at Peterson's house. When were you at his house? I asked casually. Just for a minute, Jake said quickly. He was showing me the car in his garage. That's when alarm bells started going off. I'd never given Jake permission to go anywhere near Peterson's property, let alone inside his house. I stayed calm and asked more questions over the next few days. Apparently, Peterson had been inviting Jake over just for a few minutes while I was doing laundry or cooking dinner, always when I was distracted and couldn't see the backyard clearly. Peterson told Jake it was their little secret and that I'd probably be upset if I found out because parents worry too much about everything. My stomach dropped. Every parenting instinct I had was screaming that something was very wrong. I immediately called my husband at work. We have a problem, I said, explaining everything Jake had told me. Are you sure you're not overreacting? He asked. Maybe the guy's just trying to be friendly, but I couldn't shake the feeling. That afternoon, I casually knocked on Peterson's door, telling myself I was just being a concerned neighbor. When he answered, I could see straight into his living room through the open door. Children's toys were scattered everywhere. Action figures, video games, candy wrappers, way too many toys for a single man with no kids. Hi there, I said, forcing a smile. I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you been having my son Jake over without my permission? Peterson's face went completely white. He started stammering about how kids just wandered over sometimes, and he was just being neighborly. His hands were visibly shaking. I think there's been a misunderstanding, he said, trying to close the door slightly. Jake just stopped by once or twice to see the car. Nothing inappropriate. But his reaction told me everything I needed to know. A truly innocent person would have been confused, maybe even offended by the question. They wouldn't have looked terrified. I called the police that afternoon and filed a report. The officer who came out was Detective Morrison, and her face grew serious when I described Peterson's behavior. You did the right thing calling us, she said. We'll look into this immediately. The investigation moved fast. Turns out Peterson had a disturbing history involving children and had moved to our neighborhood specifically because it was full of families with young children. He'd failed to register his new address, which was a violation of his parole. When they searched his house, they found dozens of toys, candy, and video games, all carefully arranged to appeal to different age groups. The setup was clearly meant to attract kids. Games, toys, and candy arranged in a way that felt deeply off. My son was one of several children Peterson had been trying to earn their trust for the wrong reasons. He'd been testing boundaries, seeing which kids were more trusting, which parents were less vigilant. Jake had been the perfect target, friendly, curious, and often playing alone in our backyard where Peterson could easily approach him without other adults noticing. The officer later explained that his actions followed a pattern they're trained to recognize, starting small with gifts and attention, building trust, creating secrets, then slowly pushing boundaries. We moved within a month. I couldn't stand the thought of Jake playing in that backyard anymore, constantly looking over at Peterson's house. Even though Peterson was arrested, the damage to our sense of safety was done. Jake didn't understand why we had to move so suddenly. We told him Peterson had broken some rules and wasn't allowed to live near families anymore, but we kept the full truth age appropriate. Looking back, I'm grateful I trusted my instincts instead of second-guessing myself. So many parents worry about seeming paranoid or overprotective, but sometimes that gut feeling is the only thing standing between your child and real danger.